Are you preparing your medical school application for the UK? Medical school in the UK is highly competitive. While such programs are competitive in most places, in this video we'll discuss how an additional element is introduced by the specific nature of the practice of medicine in the UK. As the vast majority of medical schools are state-funded as part of the National Health Service, the NIH, there are national quotas for the number of seats available in medicine. With 3,500 seats per year available at UK medical schools and 2 to 3 times as many applicants as seats available, applying to medical school requires strong marks, competitive scores on standardized exams, a thorough and detailed record of service, and a knockout personal statement. Hello, my name is Chris and I am an admissions associate here at BeMo. Before we get started, please subscribe on whatever social media channel you're watching this from now so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. If you'd like more assistance with your medical school application, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. And as a quick tip, check out the timestamps in the descriptions of this video to navigate to specific sections of the video that you're interested in. Here's what we're going to cover today. UK Medical School Application Fundamentals, GCSE and Secondary School Performances, Entry Options, UCAS Medicine, Entrance Exams, Work Experience, Personal Statement, and Interviews. By the way, we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions, so comment below for a chance to win. There's this one thing that will dramatically increase your application acceptance. I'll explain it in the end of the video, so keep watching to find out. Now let's get started. In the UK, medical school begins right after your secondary education, as opposed to the US and Canada, where a bachelor's degree is often acquired prior to applying to medical school. This means that your performance in secondary school, along with the courses you take at that stage of your education, matter immensely in the evaluation of your application. There are options for those who have completed a bachelor's degree and decided to pursue medicine after attaining that degree, and we'll discuss those options momentarily. First, a few details about the degree program itself. The length of a medical program will vary from school to school, but students can generally expect to spend 4 to 6 years in medical school, an average of 2 years doing preclinical work, 2 to 3 years of clinical experience at a teaching hospital or in the community, though these numbers differ slightly from school to school. So on average, if you're pursuing medicine in the UK, you can expect to spend 5 years on the initial degree, and this is followed by 2 years in a post-grad foundation program, and then you either begin training as a GP around 3 years or taking on a specialty, which can take 5 to 8 years. This means that the length of time from beginning your education to finishing your specialization training can be upwards of 15 to 16 years for some specializations. Additionally, if you choose to pursue an intercalated medical degree, or if one is required by your school, there may be an additional year added to your education. With an intercalated medical degree, you earn a BSc or near equivalent between your 3rd and 5th years of medical school. Again, at some schools this is mandatory, at others it depends on your marks and your preference. So it is crucial that you research the schools to which you're considering applying so that you know exactly what will be expected of you and how long you can expect to spend on your education. Upon completion of secondary school, you will receive your General Certificate of Secondary Education, or GCSE. It should go without saying that your grades must be high, with a minimum of a B in English and maths. Your marks in the sciences must be in the top tier, and different schools have different requirements. You need to pay careful attention to the requirements for each school. While there are some commonalities, the specifics can vary considerably. As well, you need to keep in mind your overall scores, as well as the courses and scores for your A-levels. Most UK medical schools require A-level chemistry and biology, and most also require A grades in these. The third science, or subject for A-levels, varies. Some school encourages students to take physics, others prefer students to take mathematics. So you must check with each school to ensure you have taken the courses that make you most competitive. Again, this can vary, but critical thinking and general studies are generally not acceptable A levels for most UK medical school applications. Each university has its own requirements, and these can vary considerably, so always double check. There is an immense amount of pressure on students to excel at the secondary school level, a time when 20 to 30 years in the future seems a world away, and 10 to 16 years worth of education quite literally feels like an entire lifetime. But if you're serious about pursuing medicine, you must prove that you have the capacity and resilience necessary to do so, even as you're finishing this early stage of your overall education. There are several entry options for students depending on your stage of education, your performance in secondary school, or your social or environmental context. Standard entry medicine, graduate entry medicine, medicine with a preliminary year, medicine with a gateway year, or contextual admissions. The most common entry option is standard entry medicine. This follows the general path articulated above. It often includes 5 to 6 years of education prior to the foundation program and training, and is sometimes called MBBS or MBCHB or other terms, but all these ultimately led to a bachelor's degree in medicine, which allows you to go on and train according to your chosen specialization. All university and college applications in the UK are completed through the UCAS, or Universities and Colleges Admissions Service. Though the application format is standardized, there are a number of specifics unique to medical school applications in the UK, and what schools do with the information entered in the application varies considerably as well. First, some notes on the application itself. Generally, students are able to enter 5 schools to which their applications will be sent. For medicine, only 4 applications per applicant are accepted. The 5th can either be left blank or can be used to apply to a discipline outside medicine. The deadline for medical schools is also different from the standard application. Because of the large number of applicants and the unique rigors of reviewing medical school applications, students applying to medical school in the UK must submit their completed UCAS no later than mid-October, usually October 15th. Also, many schools and programs outside medicine review applications via UCAS tariff points, a system whereby certain points are allocated based on an applicant's courses, scores, experiences, and so on. Most medical schools do not use the tariff system, though, and rely on the content of your UCAS for evaluating your suitability. As with everything else, it's best to look into the schools to which you're considering applying to understand the requirements and what they do with the information you provide to ensure your application is as competitive as possible. There are a few entrance exams that aspiring med students in the UK may need to complete, depending on where they are, what their status is at the time of application, and the requirements of the schools to which they are applying. UCAT. One of the primary admissions tests used in the UK and in Australia and New Zealand is the UCAT, or University Clinical Aptitude Test, formerly UKCAT, which is often used for both dental and medical programs in the UK. This test must be completed prior to submitting the UCAS application, and your score must be reported on the application. The UCAT is completed between early July and early October, and the UCAT score is generally taken into consideration as schools are deciding whom to interview. BMAT. The other main admissions test used by some medical schools in the UK is the Biomedical Admissions Test, or BMAT. Some UK medical schools require this test, as do many in various parts of Europe and Asia, but not all do, so you'll need to check with the schools to which you're applying to determine if taking this test is necessary. If applying to schools that require it, you must be registered to take the BMAT prior to submitting your application, but the test itself is taken after the application has been submitted, usually around the beginning of November. Note that registration must be completed at least a month in advance of the test. After completing the BMAT, your score will be sent to the schools where you have applied. GAMSAT, the Graduate Medical School Admissions Test, known as the GAMSAT, is an admissions test some schools require of students entering medical school at the graduate level having already completed a bachelor's degree. Applicants must register to take the GAMSAT prior to submitting their medical school application, generally in the last or second to last year of their undergraduate degree. And the GAMSAT score and GPA in undergraduate degree performance are considered as medical schools with graduate entry programs consider whom to invite for interviews. As with the other tests, it is meant as a test of reasoning ability more so than a test of knowledge, though some foundational knowledge in the sciences, humanities, and social sciences is necessary. The SJT, or Situational Judgment Test for admission to clinical education, is used for entry to the Scottish Graduate Entry Medical Program. The SJT is essentially a standalone version of the Situational Judgment Test portion of the UCAT, and thus contains the same content for the same purposes of evaluation. UK medical school applications, work experience. Now that we've reviewed the considerations and exams that must be considered prior to completing the UCAS, we can now draw our focus back to the two key sections of this application: work experience and the personal statement essay. For the purposes of applying to medical school, work experience refers to any work done, volunteered or paid, in the 2 years prior to applying to medical school. This experience can be gained through a hospital or in the community, and both healthcare-related services and general service positions are relevant to your application. Applicants are strongly advised to participate in a caring or service role, if possible, and in particular to work with people who are ill, disabled, or disadvantaged. While such experiences can take place in a healthcare environment, this is not mandatory. Application reviewers want to see you putting yourself in the service of others, and they want to understand your collegiality, ability to work on a team, and how you work with others in general. In that sense, a job in customer service would be applicable, since all of these are required to be successful in such a position. Direct observation of healthcare can come from volunteering or working in a healthcare environment, or by shadowing a physician. Shadowing does tend to be encouraged for aspiring medical school students, though it is not required, as it is understood that such experiences may be more accessible to some than others. If you are unable to shadow a physician, you can also simply speak to any doctors you know to learn more about the day-in, day-out realities of such a career. Applicants are encouraged to try to get a range of experiences rather than repeating the same experience or kind of experience over and over. For example, hundreds of hours of shadowing multiple doctors with no experiences that give you direct interactions with patients or that demonstrate your work in a caring or service capacity will likely not benefit your application. Just as shadowing is not required for its potential inaccessibility, overseas work, paid or volunteer, is also not required and will not necessarily help one's application. In fact, clinical work overseas is expressly discouraged, as gaining knowledge of the unique UK health system is considered more relevant. That said, for international applicants, work experience in the UK or in the NHS is not expected, just as it is not required for domestic applicants. Ultimately, what is most important about your experiences is how you draw on them in the personal statement and interview. Having specific caring roles in healthcare environments is great, but these are only as useful in terms of how much you grew as a person, how they helped you reflect on the needs of others, how they taught you compassion or resilience, or any of the other qualities sought in evaluating candidates for medical school in the UK. We'll discuss this more thoroughly in the next section, but it bears emphasizing that medical school admissions are not reserved for those with the connections and access to healthcare experiences. Whatever you have done, whether it was paid or unpaid, take time to reflect on what you learned, how you grew, and why you're better today for having gone through the experience. That sense of meaning and purpose, and your ability to convey these in a compelling way, is what ultimately matters. As with many medical applications around the world, UK medical school applications include a requisite personal statement. The medical school personal statement is an essay of around 47 lines of text, or roughly 500 words or 4,000 characters, including spaces, meant to convey your motivations and suitability for a career in medicine. This is due as part of the overall UCAS application and thus must be submitted by the mid-October deadline, along with the rest of the application materials. Note that some schools will score the personal statement, but not all. However, even those who do not formally score the essay will still review it to understand who you are, how your experiences have shaped you, and which key qualities of the medical profession you have demonstrated through your experiences. No personal statement can convey every one of these qualities, of course, so you'll need to do some introspection to reflect on those that you can most effectively demonstrate through your interests, experiences, and education so far. The personal statement should always be a narrative account that attempts to answer the core question, why do you want to be a doctor? Your authentic response to this question and the anecdotes or examples on which you draw to support it should be the core of your response. This includes demonstrating what you have done to explore the realities of life as a physician. You want to highlight your motivations, and one of the best ways of doing this is to show the actions you've taken to support those motivations. Pondering and considering are important reflective tendencies, but they must be extended into reality by actions. In composing your personal statement around such qualities and experiences, you should attempt to show some of the above qualities through your experiences, rather than just telling the reader that you have these qualities. That is, instead of simply stating that you work well with others in a team environment, recount a time when you operated as an effective team member, using description and narration to demonstrate what it means to you to be a team player and how you lived up to those expectations. Remember, while your experiences are being evaluated, the personal statement is also a key place for application reviewers to determine your communication skills and your ability to make meaning of your experiences. So consider these under evaluation as well. Show, don't tell is a golden piece of writing advice. While much of your personal statement will likely recount your academic experiences, speaking to your work and life outside of school is useful as well. The personal statement should be, at least in part, just that, personal. If you didn't do much group work in school, but you played a sport or participated in extracurricular activities that made you part of a team, it's fine to reflect on that. Likewise, if you have non-academic skills or hobbies like art or music, these can also be useful to discuss if they are directed toward demonstrating particular qualities and characteristics, or even just demonstrating that you have effective ways of handling stress, since medical school is inherently stressful. Finally, on top of the qualities above, it's always a good idea to look at the mission statements, curricula, and selection criteria of the schools to which you are applying. These will help you understand what kinds of people and students those schools hope to attract, which can help you think about what you want to highlight in your personal statement. As well, such information will be immensely useful if you are invited to interview, since demonstrating that you are a good fit for the program is essential in that stage of the admissions process. UK medical school interviews tend to be one of two types: the traditional or panel interview and the multiple mini interview, or the MMI. The traditional panel interview format consists of you, the interviewee, with either one interviewer, that's traditional, or a group of interviewers, a panel, asking you specific questions over an extended period of time, which is generally 20 to 30 minutes. The biggest difference between individual and panel is the number of interviewers, that can be from various academic backgrounds. If you're sitting down for a one-on-one interview, the interviewer will generally be there on behalf of the admissions committee and will likely have a background in the area. On a panel, you can often expect a wider range of interviewers. There will certainly be those with a background in medicine, and others may be educators, students, or members of the wider community. Essentially, whether comprised of a single interviewer or several, the traditional and panel interview format is what most of us think when we hear the word interview. When thinking about interview prep for a traditional and panel interview, think back to your personal statement first. This is a semi-personalized type of interview, so it is likely that interviewers will want to discuss elements of your experiences via your personal statement. You want to ensure you have a good grasp of the events you recounted and be prepared to discuss them further. There will be other questions for them to ask, of course, but ideas from your personal statement will almost certainly make an appearance. The multiple mini interview, or MMI, is a relatively new interview format developed at McMaster University in Canada. In this interview type, interviewees go through multiple timed interview stations, meeting briefly with several individual interviewers over the course of the day. Typically, MMI stations are between 6 to 8 minutes, with 6 to 12 total stations in the circuit, and interviewees are given a prompt or question to respond to at each station within that limited span of time. If you're applying to a school that uses the MMI, you'll want to ask in advance how many stations they use, how many minutes are allotted for reviewing and responding to the prompt and the question at each station. In terms of content, some of the common medical school interview questions noted above may arise. However, there are many different types of MMI questions, and it's beneficial to be aware of them. Like situational judgment tests, MMI prompts can include scenarios to which you must respond or policies you must evaluate. As well, some MMIs will use acting or role-playing stations or collaborative teamwork stations for you to navigate. Check out our blog to learn more about medical school applications and answer strategy questions. I have included a link to the description of this video so that you can find the blog easily. If you would like us to help you with your med school application, click on the link either above or below this video to schedule your free initial consultation. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, so please subscribe, like, and leave a comment below. If you have any questions that I did not cover in this video, please let me know in the comment section and I will get back to you as soon as possible. And don't forget that we're giving away $50 Amazon gift cards every week to the best comments and questions. So comment below for a chance to win. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you next time.